I received so many theories and solutions on what you thought was happening in the haunting of Hyde Park Manor. Now, let me relieve you of your suspense. I barreled down the stairs without a single thought to those people eating their meal. I could hear them shouting as I stood up on a chair and started unscrewing the glass bowl over the light fixture, but I didn't much care. I handed off the bowl to Timothy. "What are you doing?" Constance screamed. "I'm seeing something." I touched the light bulb and it nearly fell out. I knew it would. I screwed the light bulb in and watched the lights stay strong and bright. I grabbed the glass bowl from Timothy and started screwing the bowl back in. "Would you mind telling us what you're doing, Miss Frost?" Timothy's whisper escalated to a hoarse shout. "I would love to, Timothy." I hopped to the floor and began to pace. See, this has been a lot of fun for me. I think Elizabeth is the only person here who listens to my show, so you two won't know this. But I love this kind of thing. It's like my brain is always buzzing and full of noise, but mysteries give me something to focus on. Like a baby with a pacifier. They just quiet it down. It's amazing. And this whole situation you've brought me has made everything so quiet. So, thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth shot a confused glance to her aunt. You're welcome. At first, it was almost too easy. You know, boring. Flickering lights, loose light bulb, cold breeze, the rubber liner on the window is missing. You know, dumb, easy stuff. But then, I found this. I pulled out the wallet. Timothy's eyes grew comically large. Constance's brows furrowed. "That's Timothy's? How did you get it?" Constance asked without looking at me. "It was in your closet." I tossed the wallet back to its owner. "And why were you in Constance's closet?" Timothy pointed at me, but no one paid attention. Constance turned to him. "Timothy, what is this?" Elizabeth's voice grew shrill. "You were stealing from my aunt?" "No, I would never." "And we haven't even gotten to the window curtain," I said. Constance turned back to me. "What's wrong with my window curtains?" I shrugged. "They smelled just like his cologne. It's really strong." Constance's face went gray. Her hand shook as she reached for her phone. Timothy reached out to her. "Constance, please, please, I would never." Constance jerked back. "You were my best friend. Why would you do this to me?" "Isn't it obvious?" They all turned to me. "Clearly he's preying on you. The old woman believes in spirits and hires a medium. The good great-niece tells her aunt this is a scam. The aunt doesn't listen the first time, but that sort of talk over time tends to break down beliefs, which is pretty bad for the medium. So he needs to create a reason for the aunt to keep him around. What does he do? He fakes a haunting, so she has a reason to reinforce her belief, and, surprise, surprise, he now has job security." The room fell quiet. Timothy looked as if someone had shot him. Constance didn't look much different. Elizabeth's face hardened. "It's really obvious, actually. That, plus the wallet and the cologne on the curtains, it's like you wanted everyone to know it was you, Tim. And that doesn't make any sense, does it? A lot of stuff actually doesn't make a lot of sense, does it, when you think about it? Because you said you were looking for other jobs anyway. Does that sound like a man who is going to take the time to break into a house, steal clothes, cut rubber off of windows, make noises in the night, unscrew light bulbs, and, oh yeah, rig the water to make it look like blood? That's a lot of work for a man trying to move on." I stopped pacing. "And you know what else is bothering me really, really bad? The cologne was too strong." I turned to Elizabeth. "You said the draftiness started about 3 weeks ago, right?" Yeah. Yeah, you did. So why did that curtain smell like he sprayed cologne directly on it this morning? It wasn't faded or subtle or anything. It's all wrong. In fact, since we're talking about it, the wallet is all wrong too. Because the wallet wasn't just on the floor, tucked behind a box or under a shoe. No, that wallet was hidden in a stack of boxes in the back of the closet. So if he, in the heat of stealing some jacket or something, just dropped his wallet, why would it be so well hidden? Why would the cologne be so strong? Why did someone want to frame Timothy? What? They all cried out at the same time. But I didn't care. I couldn't stop now. Let's see if I can put this together, based on the questions I started asking myself when I was upstairs. Why does someone want to get rid of the only friend a rich old woman has? Does anyone want to guess? No? Okay. How about this? What happened to Constance's missing iron pills? Or this one. This is the one that really put it all together for me. How do you know exactly how much Timothy's cologne cost, Elizabeth? Elizabeth went white as a sheet. Her hands trembled as she reached for a chair. Constance looked sick with horror. It was so specific, I had to look it up while I was sitting in your aunt's closet. And would you believe it? You were right. His cologne is exactly $70. Pretty expensive for a little bottle. Most colognes are $40, maybe $50, but you said $70. What are the odds? I crouched down so I could stare Elizabeth right in the eye. I'm going to tell you what I think, all right? I think you're in love, and you listen to too much true crime. When I got here, your aunt mentioned that you've never had a serious partner. At what? How old are you? 41? 42? I bet you've spent a lot of nights thinking about that, huh? Why doesn't anyone want me? What's wrong with me? Feeling unattractive can hit a person pretty hard, but that all changed a few months ago when you met whoever you've been calling and texting all the time. Elizabeth's eyes welled with tears as she balled her fists. So, you're in love. Congratulations, by the way. Love is an amazing thing, especially when you thought you would never find it. Is that why it came to this? Did he want money or something, and you didn't think you'd be able to find anyone else? So you had to figure out how you could get a lot of money real quick? Because that's what it's all about, right? The money, the house. The fact that you're here taking care of your aunt instead of one of her kids leads me to think that you probably don't have any children, do you, Miss Constance? Constance numbly shook her head. Right. So you will get the money someday, Elizabeth, but someday isn't now. So you need to speed up the process. You're going to have to kill her. But wait, she has a loyal friend in Timothy. Timothy would notice if her death seems suspicious, so you need to get rid of him first. But how do you do that? You get her to send him away. You frame him for the hauntings. I'll give you this. You had patience and flair. You started with stealing things from your aunt's closet. It was probably the easiest to pull off and the easiest to reverse if you ever changed your mind. I'm sure you sold some of the jewelry, which is how you got that new tennis bracelet. You saw me noticing it and tried to tell me that it was an old gift, but you clearly don't take care of your clothes, and the bracelet is way too nice for me to believe that you kept that in good condition, but not your pearls. Elizabeth's hand grabbed her necklace. And then you moved on to the next step. You take off the rubber on the windows and create a draft. You unscrew the light bulbs. You make noises in the dark, and when she comes to you scared, asking if you heard anything, you lie and say no. And the water? The water was a nice touch. Here's a science lesson for us all. Water turns red when there are traces of iron in it. Guess who's missing quite a few iron pills? Constance, you weren't taking double doses. I bet Elizabeth here took a handful to test the amount needed to get the tap water the right color, and then she shoved them up the faucet so that when the water dissolved the pills, it came out red. But she can't be the one to uncover everything, because you two clearly don't get along. She needs a neutral third party who can't be accused of bias. She needs a detective to unravel the plot and find out that Timothy was the real culprit. She needs a detective to find the wallet and smell Timothy's cologne, which she probably bought and sprayed on the curtain earlier today. And who does she choose to manipulate and make a distant accessory to murder? Her favorite podcast detective. The room was so heavy and still, it felt like a weighted blanket had smothered out every good feeling. I sat down. I hadn't realized I was breathing so heavily. Elizabeth was trying to avoid her aunt's prying eyes. Timothy looked at me with disbelief, as if I was the ghost. And if I'm being honest, I sort of felt like one. "So," I said quietly, "how'd I do?"
So, my dear darling detectives, did you solve it? Either way, you're refining your investigatory skills and making yourselves better detectives by the day.
Thank you to Jade Madison Scott for writing this account, Virginia Wilson for editing this account, and Sophia Early for reading this account. Next week, you'll hear my account of the case I like to call Murder is No Dancing Matter. Until then, this has been Carolyn Frost. Stay cold, detectives.